Short story 132. The Great Pie Escape. Margaret was a terrible cook. Her scrambled eggs looked like angry clouds, and her mashed potatoes were lumpy like a bumpy road. But most of all, Margaret was famous, or maybe infamous, for her terrible pies. One sunny Saturday, Margaret decided to impress her friend Beatrice with a delicious blueberry pie. She followed a recipe in a big, colourful cookbook. First, gather your ingredients, the book boomed in a voice that sounded suspiciously like Margaret's grumpy neighbour, Mr. Grumpington. Margaret rummaged through her cupboards, pulling out dented cans and dusty boxes. Finally, she found everything: flour that looked like snow, bright blueberries that stained her fingers purple, and a stick of butter that resembled a pale yellow brick. Following the recipe closely, well, kind of closely, Margaret mixed the flour with some white powder that definitely wasn't sugar. It was baking soda, but don't tell Beatrice. She wrestled the dough into a lumpy ball, then rolled it out with a rolling pin that looked like it could double as a cricket bat. Next came the blueberries. Margaret poured them generously into the misshapen pie crust. "More, more!" they seemed to shout, bouncing like tiny blue marbles. Margaret obliged until the crust overflowed like a volcano about to erupt. The recipe said to bake the pie for 40 minutes. Margaret, ever the optimist, decided on 20 minutes. "Less time, more flavour," she declared, completely ignoring the smoke starting to curl from the oven. 20 minutes later, Margaret proudly pulled out the pie. It was interesting. The crust was black as burnt toast, and the blueberries had oozed out, turning the oven tray into a sticky purple mess. "Oh dear," Margaret muttered, poking the top tentatively. Suddenly, with a loud pop, the pie filling erupted. A geyser of purple goo shot out of the pie, splattering Margaret from head to toe. Blueberries rained down like a hailstorm, landing in her hair and even in her open mouth. Margaret sputtered and wiped her face. Despite the mess, she couldn't help but giggle. It wasn't exactly the delicious pie she envisioned, but it was definitely an unforgettable one. Just then, the doorbell rang. It was Beatrice, looking fresh and cheerful. "Margaret, did you bake a pie?" she asked, sniffing the air. Margaret, covered in purple glue and smelling vaguely of burnt blueberries, sheepishly opened the door. Yes," Margaret admitted, "but it seems the pie had a bit of an escape." Beatrice burst into laughter. "Oh, Margaret," she said, wiping tears from her eyes, "you're such a terrible cook, but the funniest friend a girl could ask for." Margaret grinned. Maybe she couldn't cook, but at least she could make people laugh, even, or maybe especially, with her disastrous baking attempts. In the end, Beatrice and Margaret decided to forget about the pie and order pizza instead. After all, laughter and friendship were the best ingredients for a perfect afternoon. Vocabulary notes. Story words. Terrible, very bad, opposite of good. Impress, to make someone admire you. Recipe, a set of instructions for cooking something. Rummaged, search through something messily. Dented, having a small hole or mark in it, often from being hit. Dusty, covered in a fine layer of dirt. Flour, a white powder used for making bread, cakes, etc. Blueberry, a small blue fruit. Stained, marked with a coloured substance. Wrestled, struggled with something difficult. Lumpy, having lumps in it, not smooth. Rolling pin, a long round tool for flattening dough. Cricket bat, a flat wooden bat used in the sport of cricket. Generously, in a large amount. Erupt, to suddenly burst out with force. Bake, to cook something in an oven. Optimist, someone who believes good things will happen. Smoke, the dark gas that comes from something burning. Curl, to bend in a circle or spiral. Interesting, unusual or different in a way that is interesting. Crust, the hard outer layer of a pie or pizza. Erupt, to suddenly burst out with force. Geyser, a hot spring that throws a jet of water and steam into the air. Goo, a thick, sticky liquid. Splattering, to throw a liquid onto something in small drops. Hailstorm, a heavy fall of small balls of ice. Sputtered, to speak quickly and with difficulty. Tentatively, in a careful and uncertain way. Sheepishly, in an embarrassed way. Fresh, clean and healthy looking. Cheerful, happy and positive. Vaguely, not clearly or exactly. Disastrous, very bad or unsuccessful. Grinned, smiled widely. Ingredients, the things that are needed to make a dish. Bonus. Famous or infamous, well known. Famous can be good or bad, infamous is usually bad. Suspiciously, in a way that makes you think something is wrong or strange. Double as, to be used for two different purposes. Erupt like a volcano. A volcano is a mountain that erupts, sending out lava, ash and gas. Poke, to push your finger into something softly. Giggle, to laugh in a quiet, high-pitched way. Story written by Google Bard AI. Image created by Desgo.com AI. Please check out my new blog at www.steveuk.blog. Thank you. Hello, this is Steve. If you enjoyed the story, please would you take the time to leave a meaningful comment and click on the like icon. If you want to know when the next story has been uploaded, please click on the notify bell icon to be notified. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and tell your English learning friends so they can benefit too. Thank you.